Alright, today we have a 2000 era, the round body style of GM pickup, and it's a 1500 heavy duty. The concern is the brakes are grinding at low speed. Specifically, once they come to a certain speed, it'll all of a sudden feel like it's grinding. At least that's what the customer says and what the customer feels and sees. However, what's really happening is the ABS is kicking on. And it's a very, very common problem with these GM vehicles, especially the pickups, Tahoes, Suburbans, any kind of larger pickup style GM vehicle. We're going to go out there and I'm going to show you what this actually is. But first, okay, so this is the body style and type of truck it is. This particular vehicle is a 3 of 2003. You can see there are no lights on. The ABS light does come on for a short time when you first start moving, after you start it, and then it turns off right after you get moving. First thing we need to do is we need to go into the ABS system, live data, and then we need left, right, and rear wheel speed sensors. We are going to merge those three, and then we are going to change the setting so that it lasts a little bit longer, and we're going to go for a drive and watch this graph. If you can't merge them with your particular scan tool, you'll still be able to just watch them individually and see this problem. Okay, we are going to take this truck for a quick drive and show you the symptom before we go too far. We're going to have to listen rather closely to hear what the sound sounds like, but I will certainly make the sound happen. There's the ABS, first kicks on, but as soon as I get moving, it shuts off. Okay? Okay, here we come. We're coming up to a stop. Could you hear that? I'll do it again. Okay, we're going to do it another time here, and we're going to do it looking at the speedo so you can see at what speed it's kicking on. Typically, it's at very low speeds, 10 mile an hour or less, and usually it's even under 5 mile an hour. Here we go. So, what's actually happening here? Here is the scan data, and you see the green line on that scan data. Now, we're going to go over here and look at this little end section so you can see it when it actually happens. Did you hear and see that? It happens right when that green line drops out. It stops seeing a speed on one tire. Even though the tire is still spinning, it stops seeing the speed in that tire. Okay, so that is what's happening. Now, what is going on is the wheel bearing speed sensor either has debris caught in it. Sometimes you can fix it by pulling a little debris off of it, or it has actually failed and it's not capable of reading properly. It's very rare when it does this that there's a broken wire. Usually a broken wire will throw the light on, it will be permanent. But this one, it throws the light on, then it turns off as soon as it sees a speed pickup, because hey, there's a speed now, it's working, okay, we're fine. But the wire won't be like that, it'll just straight up not work. So the sensor is working, it's just not as sensitive as it needs to be. And like I said, most of the time, this is because there's debris caught between the sensor and the trigger wheel, and that debris a lot of times is caused from a bad wheel bearing. So I will pull the sensor off to show you, but I will be stuck replacing the wheel bearing most likely. Okay, so you can hear the horrible grinding noise under the hood of this thing. I'm also going to take a look at that. He had complaints that his alternator sounds weak, even though it's new and been replaced a couple of times now. So I'm going to see where that noise is coming from. Okay, you guys got a little better view now. I sure as hell can't fit in here, but hey, whatever. Get my doctor equipment on. Smooth. Smooth. So let's go to the idler. A little bit of a hum. Let's try the tensioner. Woo! Wow, that's loud. You know what? I'm going to try something here. I'm going to take the end of this and I'm going to put it on the microphone for you guys. I'm going to switch it from right and left, kind of move it back and forth, and hopefully you guys can hear this as I hold it on the tensioner. Now I'm pretty sure you guys can hear that, so I'm going to go ahead and do the alternator too, just to give you an idea. And then the idler that's over here, I'm also going to hit that one for you guys. Well, as you can obviously hear and see, the tensioner itself, the bearing in the tensioner pulley is bad on this thing. It is very, very loud, and that's because it's dried out. All the grease has left the tensioner bearing itself, and a lot of times I can replace just the bearing. So I'm going to go ahead, take a look at the tensioner, how good it feels, and then I'm going to, if it has a metal housing, I'm going to make sure that it has one that I can press the bearing out of, and if it does, we will be replacing a bearing. I bet there's no other technician on YouTube that has actually used a stethoscope with a camera. There's a little treat for you to think about. If you want a stethoscope like mine, that one was from Snap-on. However, there are some available as well on Amazon. So I will put a link down below. They are cheap and they save you a lot of trouble trying to diagnose noises, especially belt noises. You can use a screwdriver, but it's just not as good. Stethoscope's well worth the investment. As far as I know, I think all these GM tensioners are 15 millimeter. Might run across an occasional oddball, but for the most part they're 15. Now, I'm feeling this. It feels smooth and clean. I like it. So I'm going to say the tensioner itself is good, but I do have to note that this has a plastic pulley. Now listen. You hear it? Plenty loud. So, it's dried out, but it has a plastic pulley, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that off quick. Okay, this is one that I cannot replace. Now, if you look at this, the bearing sits inside of this plastic, so when they do this, they must have it formed in a way that this is sticking up, and then they use some kind of heated machine to press it down. I'm not sure exactly, either that or they form it around the bearing, but you cannot press this bearing out of here, so you are stuck replacing the pulley. I'll go ahead and give you guys a listen to that too. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this and I'm going to touch the end of this against camera. Now I'm just waving it around so you can hear it. So I will get a new tensioner or pulley depending on what's available. But before I do that, I need to get on more pressing matters. This wheel bearing needs to be checked. The sensor needs to be inspected, and I need to figure out if it's the wheel bearing, the sensor, or if I need to do both, most likely both. But I do want to show you the sensor, just for the sake of giving you guys the experience of seeing it. This thing is way too big for my garage. Hello! Yeah, this is going to be interesting. In order to get anything on the other side of the garage, I have to crawl underneath the truck. And this is all the higher the truck can go. I'm on my knees, pretty much sitting on my feet. I don't have very much room to work with, but I'm going to do this for you guys. I'm sure I'm glad my toolbox is right here. Okay, I just collapsed the caliper a little bit by using a pry bar. You can see the rotor is loose. That's so that when I pull this off here, it'll be easy to put back on. need that off of there to get to what I need to get to. And we have a sensor right here. I'll show you guys that as soon as I get this undone. Now I'm bending this little tab up so that I don't have to take the wheel bearing up to get to the sensor. Okay, since we live in the great state of Minnesota, we have a lot of rust. Well, this state's not so great, but you know, it's great enough, I guess. Alright, so this Allen wrench is supposed to fit it, I believe. However, the problem is there's a lot of rust in there, so I'm going to take this 90-degree pick. I'm going to move it around in the bottom, blow out the crud, then hammer this in, do the same thing again to blow out the crud again. Now, if you notice, I keep blowing rust off of there. I don't want this rust to fall inside of that sensor when I pull it off, so I'm going to sit here and clean up all the rust around it. There it is. Okay, there's a O-ring sealing these things. Now, this one has exposed wires because it has broken. I will show you that in a second as well. Okay, well this is cool. You guys actually get to see the internals and why this one has failed. Okay, I can't see if there's debris on it because the plastic is still in the bearing. However, this is what the sensor looks like on the inside. All it is this copper, really fine copper wire. And here's the broken part of the wire right here. Perhaps I broke that when I twisted the rag around it, I don't know. But you see how fine this wire is. This stuff is pretty fine stuff. So that's where the pickup comes from. As the wheel comes across here, it gives a little magnetic signal to this piece, and then triggers the ABS, tells it what speed it's doing, and you know the drill. Anyway, there's that. It'd be cool if I could get this plastic out of here for you guys, but it is, wow, it's really wedged in there. That's not happening. So either way, I'm going to be putting a wheel bearing in, so let's get that done and then we will go for a test drive. Okay, the best way to get these things off of here is with a chisel that has a nice sharp edge on it. You can take it, put it in between where the cap and the bearing meet. Now this one is corroded on there really bad. You normally don't have to work your way around this much. Oh, this one has the big nut. A lot of these have a really small nut on there. I ended up damaging this cover a little bit. It's really not a needed cover. It's nice to keep if you can, but I don't think I'm going to be able to keep this one. Now, we got to take this big nut off and then go for the bolts behind here. They come in from the back alongside the axle. These ratchet wrenches are one of my favorite ratchet wrenches. If I can find them, I will put a link in the description below. Owie! Damn it! Ah. Ooh, ouch, 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 ouch. I bet that left a mark. I'm unsure as to how much of that I missed, but I took all 4 of these bolts out. Okay, now I am about to take the air hammer and air hammer this bearing out of the steering knuckle. But before I can do that, eyes and ears. Wow! Oh, hit me right in the face. That was like getting sandblasted in the face. This is interesting. So, look at how rotted that is. That piece is supposed to come over here, and it's supposed to be a guard to keep dust out of here. So most likely that wheel bearing, or that pickup spot does have a piece of debris caught in it, and it probably got trapped in there by getting by this and ending up inside of it. Now this stuff is a spray anti-seize, and you saw me put it all over the knuckle and stuff. That's because it's so rusty. But this stuff is extremely nice because it's not as greasy and tacky and gets stuck on everything. I'll go ahead and throw a link in the description below for you guys to be able to find this. And yeah, it's really good stuff. Super handy. A little bit spendy, but well worth it. Wow. You guys aren't going to believe what I just found. So, sorry for the goofy camera angle. I'm kind of holding the thing, but I was doing the starter. It was not going to be included on this video because I've done starters in videos before, and I figure why even bother looking at it, right? As I'm doing the starter, I'm looking around at the rest of the vehicle. I look over at the other caliper. Now, this customer had mentioned a grinding noise both applying the brake and sometimes without applying the brake. And I thought, well, maybe just letting go of the brake pedal, he's coming to a stop. No. It was a grinding noise going down the highway occasionally as well. What I'm about to show you, scary. So, hold on to your seat here. Okay. We're going to look at it from here. And we're going to try not to notice the obvious part yet. Now, if you think you know what it is, before I show you, while I'm just looking at this, then throw a comment down below. But we're going to get closer now. Here we go. Notice something missing? There is no bolt there. There is no bolt there. The rim is being rubbed against by the caliper. Yeah, that is not okay. Not okay. I repeat, not okay. I just called the customer and informed them, and they're glad I found it, and I am going to be fixing that as well. I'm hoping I can just put a bolt and pin kit in and be done. We'll see how rotted the inside of those holes are. Some vehicles, I just don't get how people can drive around with things like this. It's like, how do you do that? Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna fix that now. Real quick. Right? Real quick? In theory? Probably not real quick. I'm gonna try and fix it though. Real quick. Even though it's not gonna be real quick. Alright. I gotta get off the ground. I'm getting too comfortable down here. A nap would be really good right about now. Yeah. It's late in the day. I'm getting tired. I'm probably going to work till 9 o'clock. And now I'm just rambling. Okay. Let's go. That's not okay. But we're going to make it okay. At least we're going to try. You know what? These holes might be okay. There's a lot of grease in that one. Plenty of grease in that one too. This thing might actually be okay. I might just have to clean them out and throw some new pins and bolts in. That'd be awesome. Alright, I got the holes cleaned out on this thing. I took brake clean with one of the straws, sprayed in there. Took this guy, ran it in and out of the hole. Then I would spray that off, then I'd spray the brake clean in there. Keep repeating until I got it all cleaned out. There was a lot of grease in there. So I know that that's okay. Now I'm ready to put it back together. I'll throw some new grease in there. I'll throw some Loctite on the threads and the head of the bolt, put it all back together. I'm not showing you all this, I'm just telling you because that's not what the video is about. It's supposed to be about this wheel bearing. So I'm trying to skip over. I got enough brake shop video. I do. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thrown back together, and then you guys will see the other side finishing up right now. Here is the nice new wheel bearing. As you can see, it's obviously a lot shinier. I'm going to go ahead and the same anti-seize I put on there, I'm going to spray on the back side of this. this O-ring I pulled out of there, I'm going to go ahead and throw that back in. It's supposed to keep moisture and stuff out. Obviously it didn't work, it was rustier than all hell. But I'm still going to be a nice guy and put it back in there. Stay. Be sure to put Loctite on the bolts. Another one of these things that I've learned over time is these sensors, when you pull them out of the vehicle, a lot of times you're better off leaving this thing in the vehicle and just disconnecting it like this, because this little Christmas tree will get stuck in here, especially on rusty cars, and you'll either end up stuck drilling it out or whatever to get that thing out of there. If you just disconnect it this way, they usually don't break. They're usually still in really decent shape as far as flexibility. And you don't have the issue of having to worry about the Christmas tree causing trouble. Now this nut here, you want to absolutely make sure you torque. You saw I torqued the bolts behind for the hub as well. The torque spec for this nut, especially when you get an SKF bearing, you can look up online really easily. They have a nice PDF that works out really good. In fact, my search engine, it just pops up, I put SKF and it says bearing torque right away. It's just kind of used to me looking that up. Ends up being the first thing I click on, right at the top, and here it is. So you can see the little label up top there. Now I'll just go ahead and look up this particular year, make, model on this PDF, and then I will find the torque and torque this thing down. Alright, this thing should be done. I will be taking it for a test drive. If I have no other problems, you won't hear from me again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to. Do any of it if you want to. On that note, I will see you later.